So, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night or sitting in a bar with friends at the end of the day and say, why don't they, you fill in the blank, get it? And I had a client say that to me recently, and as I started passing that along with the profanity, people go, yeah, that happens to me all the time. And it's a big question, why don't people get it? Well, here is a very simple way, an effective way to get that kind of information. I was brought into a telecommunications company to work with a planning team, and I was just teaching my model. Why do people support? Why do they resist? And I'm about an hour into the presentation, and we're going back and forth. There's a really good group of people, and one guy stopped me and said, Rick, next week the bomb is going to drop. And this seemed like an odd phrase in a meeting, and I said, what do you mean a bomb's going to drop? He said, we're holding a meeting. And I said, yeah, it's an all-day meeting. Yeah. I said, I don't hear the bomb. And they said, oh, it's where we bring the stakeholders in and we're rolling out the first draft of this plan. And oh, it's just going to be awful. There's going to be blood. I mean, da-da-da-da. And then like puppy dogs, they said, what should we do? Well, I didn't know what they should do. I knew as much about that meeting as you do right now. But they're looking for me. They're looking at me. They want advice. And I said, look, think about somebody who's come into that meeting. What's going to be on his or her mind? And people started telling me, and I started writing it down as fast as I could write. And about halfway through this sheet, I realized what I could do with it. So we get done, and I said, look, there are three major reasons why people might not buy into what you're saying. So let me use a green marker. It's, I don't get it. This really is, they don't understand what you're talking about. I see your lips moving, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Okay, that kind of thing. So which of these fall in that category? And I underlined. And I said, let me use a blue marker. It's another category. And it really focuses on, I don't like it. This is an emotional reaction. There's something about your idea that scares people. Okay? I could lose my job. I'm an old dog. I can't learn new tricks. I'm going to have to move on and on and on. It's very, very personal. So which of these are that personal emotional? And I underlined those. And I said, so far we got, I don't get it. I don't like it. And the final one is, I don't like you. So here, let me use a red marker. This has to do with trust and confidence. So they may like you fine, but they don't trust you to lead something like this. And it may be because of your history together, or it simply may be who you represent. So which of these? And I underline them. And so now this whole list is color-coded. And somebody said, oh, that's why the bomb's going to drop. And people looked at him and said, why? And he said, look at that. We designed that entire 8-hour meeting to deal with those green informational things. We got timelines, deliverables, objectives, Gantt charts, on and on and on. He said, I'm not saying those are not important, but 90% of the list is people not liking it, being afraid, and not trusting us. Did I got it right, Rick? And I said, you got it right. And they said, boy, you're right. I mean, it just was this eye-opening. They intuitively knew something was off. They didn't know what to do about it. Here's what they did, and I loved it. They said, Rick, could we take the next hour and come up with a new design for that meeting? And I said, sure. They turned their chairs around, and they took the same players, the same meeting room, the same bad coffee, and they redesigned the meeting. So what they did is they said, what information do we need to give? But how do we do this in a way that can address their concerns and their fears? And how do we run this meeting in a way that might actually build their trust and confidence in us? So they were really happy with what they came up with. And I was too. Next week they hold the meeting, and I called one of the people and I said, so how'd it go? And he said, it was great. He said, not 100% of the people were with us, but a lot were. They asked good questions, they were engaged, they had ideas. He said, I really think we're on the right track with this. So sometimes something as simple as that can start to help you understand, oh, that's what's getting in the way. But let me tell you another kind of simple story. I was called by Marianne.